What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the upcoming votes that were supposed to happen today. The number one, the bipartisan infrastructure vote. Number two, the debt limit ceiling and government shutdown vote and government default vote in the Senate. The bipartisan infrastructure vote in the House, both supposed to happen today. And the stimulus package vote, which is supposed to be happening this week. Yeah, we got a lot happening here in this upcoming week, starting today, which is Monday. As well as on the show, we discuss money, investing, the upcoming $3.5 trillion stimulus package, and everything else going on in this country and in Washington, D.C. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember, new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have breaking new information coming out here from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who has actually put up with an impossible decision on what to do here. We're going to just jump right in. If you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. And here we go. Nancy Pelosi was faced with a tough decision as other Democratic leader Pramila Jayapal, leader of the Progressive Democratic Caucus, says the votes are not there to pass the infrastructure bill on Monday. So the question is, if the votes aren't there, do you put the infrastructure bill to a vote, have it fail, and possibly have a divided Democratic caucus? Or do you delay the vote and potentially go against your word because, well, you promised these moderate Democrats in the House that you would not vote on it on Monday? And even though you promised them this several weeks ago, and maybe have it be seen as going against your word. Let me know your thoughts. What would you do if you were Speaker of the House of Representatives? Would you put a bill on the floor today, knowing that it was probably going to fail? This is a bill that has already passed the Senate, the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Would you put it on the floor knowing it was going to fail and that the votes weren't there? Now, meanwhile, this story here from Fox News, Nancy Pelosi just said yesterday, we had it on the show in our video last night, Nancy Pelosi strikes a confident tone on the infrastructure bill, saying she, quote, never brings a bill to the floor without the votes. Nancy Pelosi on Sunday vowed that the Democrats will pass a bipartisan infrastructure bill this week. Yeah, it kind of puts you in a difficult decision. Do you put the infrastructure bill to a vote, knowing that it's probably going to fail? As Democratic Representative Jayapal said, the votes just aren't there. If you put it to a vote, it's going to fail on Monday. Yeah. Now, the problem with this is that you could really piss off a lot of moderate Democrats who said, no, you said we were going to vote today, Monday the 27th. You promised us that you would vote. But is it really worth it if it fails? And then you also have Kyrsten Sinema from the Senate. Yeah, Senator Kyrsten Sinema from the Senate said to Nancy Pelosi, break your word on the infrastructure bill, and I'm out. Here's what she said. This is a week ago. She said, quote, if they delay the vote or it goes down, then I think you can kiss the reconciliation goodbye. Reconciliation would be dead. Or to put it another way, progressives think if they can band together and threaten to kill the infrastructure bill, it will convince moderate members to go along with the larger reconciliation package. But multiple sources, including a senior Democratic aide and several in the centrist camp, tell us the left is misleading their colleagues. So she said a week ago that if you delay the infrastructure vote, or if the infrastructure vote doesn't pass, that she's out. Well, what a predicament that is, because it looks like it wouldn't pass today, or they may need to delay it today. What a predicament that this puts you in. So pretend that you're the House Speaker. What decision would you make? Would you put it for a vote today, knowing that Pramila Jayapal says it's probably going to fail if you put it today, and that would further divide your caucus? And if Kyrsten Sinema says if it fails today, she's out, And if you delay it today, she's out. See how difficult this situation is? Well, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, had to make the decision to not put the vote in today for the physical infrastructure package, knowing that it would fail. She decided to delay it to Thursday on the infrastructure package. And the interesting part about this is that they will vote on the infrastructure package on Thursday, which is only 3 more days away. The question is, and the reason for this is that the stimulus package was supposed to be voted on before the infrastructure package. So does this mean that the stimulus package will be passed in the next 3 days? Or will they have an agreement to pass the stimulus package here within the next 3 days? Because I really don't see any reason why they would delay it 3 days here unless something is going to change within the next 3 days. So the House will vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill on 3 days. They will also start debating on the House floor today on the infrastructure bill today. So they're actually going to start the debate process today instead of voting on it today. But the question is, well, they're going to do the vote on Thursday for the bipartisan infrastructure package. Will they have the stimulus package done before Thursday now within the next 2 or 3 days? Very interesting. Let me know your thoughts. Would you have delayed the package vote, the physical infrastructure package, or would you have put it to a vote today knowing that it may have failed, which would further probably divide your Democratic caucus? I don't know if I would have put a vote on the floor knowing it would have failed, because we do have almost 100 Democrats in the Progressive Caucus that are saying they're not going to vote for the package, the physical infrastructure package, because the stimulus package has not been passed beforehand, which is kind of what was supposed to happen. Also, what's interesting is that a bunch of Republicans that helped craft or write the physical infrastructure bill are possibly not going to even vote for it, which is kind of odd. They wrote or helped write the physical infrastructure bill, are not even going to vote for it now. Again, I can't make this stuff up. So they were in support of it before when they wrote it, and we had Republican support from the Senate, but now they're possibly not going to vote for it, or at least some of them are not going to vote for it. Also, Republican leader of the House, Kevin McCarthy, is not going to vote for it either. But Mitch McConnell, leader of the Senate, the Republican leader of the Senate, I should say, minority leader of the Senate, did vote for the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. On the stimulus package, Senator Bernie Sanders says yesterday, under our reconciliation bill, seniors would pay lower prices for prescriptions while receiving hearing, vision, and dental care. Remember, this is a big part of the package, is that Medicare will be receiving hearing, vision, and dental care. And we will lower prescription drug prices for all Americans. We will lower prescription drug prices for all Americans. It's insane that we have to fight for these obvious steps, but here we are, and fight we must. So again, this is a big part of the stimulus package that they're putting in here. So it's not a direct stimulus that you'll get immediately, but if you have any type of prescription drug prices or prescription drugs that you pay for, they're saying that it's going to lower prescription drug costs for all Americans. So we'll have to see how this works out when they pass the bill. Also, seniors will pay lower prescription drug prices and will receive hearing, vision, and dental care for Medicare. It's also expected to lower the Medicare eligibility age to age 60. Also, sometime later today is expected to be the other vote in the Senate, which will be on the debt ceiling, which is to raise the debt limit ceiling for the debt limit, which will prevent a government default, which will be the first default ever by the U.S. government, which literally means the government is going to run out of money. That has never happened before. And for a government funding bill to prevent the government from shutting down. The government will shut down now in 3 days, or less than 3 days, 2.5 days, however you want to look at it, on September 30th at midnight. That vote is going to happen in the Senate sometime today. It is expected to happen sometime today in the Senate. However, Mitch McConnell has all his Republicans set to vote no on this. As you can see here, Mitch McConnell's Senate GOP stands for Grand Old Party, it's an old nickname for the Republican Party, is about to vote for a U.S. default. That's correct. The Republicans are about to vote for a U.S. default. All the Republican Party just voted to let the U.S. default and to let the government shut down in the vote that just happened in the House of Representatives a few days ago. That vote passed because all the Democrats passed it. The Democrats had enough votes to pass it in the House, but there will not be enough votes to pass it in the Senate if we do not get at least 10 Republican senators to vote on this bill that is expected to happen sometime later today in the Senate. Yes, and the debt limit ceiling is the more important out of the two. Not to say that a government shutdown is not important, that will happen in 3 days, but the U.S. default on the debt limit ceiling will be a first time ever and will be catastrophic for our economy, for the U.S. government, and will literally mean that the U.S. will run out of money, will not be able to pay its bills, or will have to pick and choose how to pay its bills. And anything that has to do with the U.S. government paying bills or funding bills, possibly such as Social Security, the military, school systems, child tax credit payments, Medicare, Medicaid, literally anything that has to do with government funding or government cutting checks, money coming from the government, police, fire, anything that has to do with money from the government could be at risk. And we say could be because we really don't know the extent of the circumstances, how this could play out, because this has never happened before. This has never happened before. We've never had a government default or a government. This is kind of similar to when a person would file bankruptcy. This would be similar to that, or when a person runs out of money and still has to pay bills. This would be very similar to that situation. This would be like the government literally runs out of money. In this case, the government has to pass a bill in Congress called the debt limit, raising the debt limit cap or the debt limit ceiling. Congress has to do that, and the Republicans are refusing to do that, even though they did it 3 times in 4 years under former President Donald Trump, which was a Republican president and was our most recent president term of the last 4 years. They raised it 3 times in 4 years, which is kind of the most recent analogy that we can talk about. They have to do this. They have to raise the debt limit ceiling to prevent a government default. There's no way around it. They have to do it one way or another. The Republicans are refusing to do this just as kind of a political, I don't even have a good analogy for it. Just as a political, like, statement. That's probably the best way to say this. So the Republicans are going to probably vote no on this and are going to set the stage for a government shutdown. And you can see here this article from NBC News. The White House is beginning to tell the government agencies, the states, and agencies across the United States to prepare for a shutdown. The government shutdown will happen in 2.5 to 3 days, depending on how you want to look at it, on September 30th at midnight. Here it is, right here from NBC News. That's why I like to show you guys these articles. I like to show you, I've shown you Mitch McConnell's statements here in the last several days. I like to show you the Democrats' articles or interviews. I've shown you Nancy Pelosi. I've shown you Mitch McConnell. I've shown you the senators. I've shown you the congressmen. I like to show you both sides so you guys can see what both sides are saying. If you've been watching the show, you know I show you the Republicans. I show you the Democrats. Here it is right here from the White House, right here from NBC News. So you guys know this stuff is true. Know this stuff is true. Here it is in black and white. The White House is beginning to tell government agencies to prepare for a shutdown. This will happen in T-minus less than 3 days. So government shutdown is different than a government default. Government shutdown will be on September 30th at midnight. Okay. A government default has never happened before. The government default is expected to, based on an estimate is the key word here, be on October 15th. Okay. That doesn't mean it can't happen earlier. So this is a little bit more than 2 weeks away. That doesn't mean it can't happen on October 10th or earlier. The problem is by doing Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who's the Treasury Secretary, the top person. It used to be Steve Mnuchin from the Republicans just a few months ago when former President Trump was president. She's the head honcho. She didn't even want to put a date on it because the problem is when you put a date like this on it based on this third-party analysis, people think that they have until October 15th to do this. But what if it's not October 15th? What if it's October 10th? Or what if it's October 8th? Or what if it's October 5th? Okay? And that's why putting a date on this stuff is a very risky date. Okay? The U.S. is using an emergency fund right now to basically pay all the bills of the government. And on August 1st, which is when they should have raised the debt limit ceiling, but the Republicans refused to vote on it. And when they did vote on it, they all voted no. It had $450 billion in it. And now it's being whittled away. And now there's probably less than $100 billion in it. Okay. And sometime in the next 2 weeks or so, it's going to run down to zero. That's correct. And this is because the government spends more money than they take in. And it's been this way for many, many, many years. And at some point, the government is going to literally run out of money. Can't make this stuff up, guys. And I mean, former President Trump put over $8 trillion to the national debt in just 4 years. So you can see how much money the government spends more than they make. So if you think about that, that's a $2 trillion added to the debt in every 2 years. Now, if you think about that, a lot of the money was the 2 stimulus packages that he did and the 2017 Trump tax cuts. The 2017 Trump tax cuts, which they passed through the reconciliation card or the reconciliation process, that was over $2 trillion. The first stimulus check package was $2.3 trillion, and the second stimulus check package was just under $1 trillion. So you can see how all that adds up pretty quickly, right? All 3 of those things were not paid for. The 2017 Trump tax cuts and the 2 stimulus packages. But the next stimulus package, not the third stimulus check package, that also went to the national debt underneath Biden. But the next stimulus package, this American Families Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure package, are both expected to be fully paid for. Fully paid for. So those 2, the third stimulus check package under Biden was not paid for either. That went to the national debt as well, just so we're being fair on both sides here. But this American Families Plan, this $3.5 trillion package, which is probably going to be less than $3.5 trillion when all is said and done. Whether it's going to be $3 trillion or less than $3 trillion, whatever it's going to end up being. They're also probably going to have to take immigration out. I think that the House may even try to pass it with immigration in there, which will be very interesting to see if they do that. But the Senate will probably need to remove that because remember the parliamentarian ruled that they can't have it in there, but that's a recommendation. But I think the Senate will probably have to remove that. That's a couple $100 billion in there. And I don't think Joe Manchin will pass that or let them pass that with that in there because based on the Senate parliamentarian, I don't think Joe Manchin will let that stay in there. Because remember, the parliamentarian, they can just overrule them. They can overrule them just by simply voting all 50 people yeses. But I don't think Joe Manchin will vote to overrule the parliamentarian. I just don't see it happening. So, yeah, like I said, we got a lot going on. Maybe by tonight's 8 p.m. video, we will have the Senate vote in on this government shutdown bill and the debt limit ceiling bill with the Republicans. So don't miss tonight's video. Make sure to subscribe down below. And remember that new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m. 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribing is completely free to do. You can click the bell icon down below to make sure you get notifications when we go live. You can also click the share button down below to share this video with your friends and family. I will keep you up to date with everything going on in our country, with this government shutdown, with this potential government default, and with this next stimulus package, which is going to be the largest stimulus package yet to date. This infrastructure package, whew, we got a lot going on. I'll keep you up to date with everything going on, what's going to be in these packages, the infrastructure package, and everything going on in our country. So make sure to stay tuned. Don't miss out on any videos at this point because, man, there's a lot going on. You can click this video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how they're trying to add a $1,400 stimulus check into this next stimulus package. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.